What Jim Montgomery just said has Blues fans shocked. After bringing back a former player in Robby Fabbri, we get an insight on where exactly he's being injected into the lineup. But not only that, we get two huge updates on key injuries to this Blues team as they continue navigating and trying to win three in a row for the first time this season. We have so much to break down in this episode, and you're not going to want to miss it. So, Darius, let's just go straight into it. And listen, if you haven't seen it yet, we do know the St. Louis Blues brought back a former player, Stanley Cup champion, in Robby Fabbri last night on a 1-year, 2-way contract. Now, with this, Darius, I do want to just talk about this a bit. I know you did a full video on this yesterday, fans. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. But what is your thoughts on him getting injected into this lineup? We've seen the quote from Jim saying, I would like to think he would start there. And if he shows he has the ability to move up in the lineup, then maybe he will. I mean, we've seen him play time in the AHL a bit this season. But what is your thoughts on this new face, well, former new face, joining this lineup?
Yeah, and I had a video on it yesterday on the signing itself, but we didn't get the news till later in the day, so I missed it that he will be in the lineup. He will be playing. So he is absolutely going to be at the NHL level, and he's going to be in the game. They're starting him on presumably the third line at this point. As you can see there, he's kind of penciled in right now. So that'll be interesting. I also saw a lot of people on social media and in the comments as well saying, why would they go out and sign a guy who hasn't played in the NHL in a while? Guys, he played 44 games in the NHL last season. He really hasn't missed time. Yes, he's dealt with some injury trouble. We know that. Blues fans absolutely know that. Like I mentioned in my video, he is one of the most unlucky players in terms of his injury history in a long time. But man, credit where credit's due. He has not missed a beat. He always comes back, and he has stayed at the NHL level, and he's back in the NHL with the Blues now. And of course, he started this year on a PTO with the Charlotte Checkers, and he was in the AHL. And the coach did, speak out, and I covered it yesterday. He did say that he doesn't really have his legs yet, so I'm a little concerned about that. I wonder if they do shelter him a little bit, but they did say that he does have the poise, the composure. He was making plays. He just doesn't have like the foot speed. He's not 100% up to speed yet. So again, I wonder what that looks like with the Blues when he gets into this game. I wonder if they shelter him a little bit, but he was making plays. We know that he's a good player when healthy. So we'll see how this plays out, but he's going to play, Mark, and I think that's pretty exciting. And he's going to have to play because the Blues are dealing with a plethora of injuries right now.
And I think that's the big thing. Listen, you can call up guys from the AHL. Otto Stenberg, a name that everyone talks about, but I think getting that experience into the lineup, someone that knows this organization, we've seen him win a Stanley Cup with this team. This is getting a familiar face into the lineup when the culture, I'm not going to say the culture's bad now, but we know the Blues culture when they won that cup was at a sky high. So maybe bringing back a familiar face that we did draft is big, but it is kind of on the side of course, Nick Bjugstad will be out at least 5 days. Now, with this, the upper body injury, we don't know if this is a situation where it's 5 days. We're going to see week to week. We don't know yet, but at least 5 days does kind of suck when you're looking at this lineup. I mean, Bjugstad, we're going to touch on very quickly. Maybe not the start of the season we expected from bringing him in. We've seen how good he was on the Arizona Coyotes before going to Utah, then having a dip in production, and now with 4 goals in 25 games. Darius, do you think they're going to miss having this guy in the lineup? I mean, a big body, someone that works hard, 33 years old, brings the experience, but do you think maybe this is the time that Fabbri can just step in and say, hey, maybe I'm even better than this guy?
Yeah, and I think that Robby Fabbri is going to be able to give you maybe more point production than Bjugstad has at this point, right? And we were talking about it during the summer that he's going to add some points, but we didn't really know if he was going to play on the third or the fourth line. We were suspecting the fourth line. He could add some minutes through special teams, all of that stuff, but yeah, we don't really know. Like you said, it is an upper body injury. He's out at least 5 days. It could be longer. So the timing with Fabbri actually worked out really well that they were able to sign him and get another guy in this lineup where they didn't have to make another call up and kind of disrupt Springfield and some other players' developments. And you have a guy who has NHL experience in Fabbri coming in. But all of that to say, in Bjugstad, he hasn't been performing that well this year. Of course, he's a big body. He brings experience, like you said, and he has looked good at times this season. But again, it's like a consistency thing, and I think it goes for the rest of the team as well. So I think they'll miss him in terms of having an NHL body in the lineup, but we'll see ultimately when he comes back and what happens with the rest of the roster. They're going to have to send some guys down, like a Matt Luff, I would imagine would be first to go back down to Springfield. But for the time being, I am interested to see what a lot of these guys can do in Bjugstad's absence. If it is Matt Luff that, kind of not goes off here, but gets an opportunity to show what he can do on that fourth line, right? And Kaskamäki has looked okay so far. I don't think there's like high expectations from, but has looked good. But I'm really interested to see what Fabbri does. And I think Fabbri it will put up more points than Bjugstad has so far this year. We just know what type of a player he is. He's a different type of player, right? So we'll see what he does. But again, the foot speed thing worries me a little bit. But Bjugstad, we'll see how long he's out for. But as soon as he's back, I think he factors back into the lineup right away.
And I think that's a big thing. Hey, Matt Luck won Player of the Month for Springfield last season. So sorry, last month. There we go, third time's the charm. But the big thing is, looking at this team, we know there's another injury, and we do see Jim Montgomery speaking on Toropchenko, and he says he's progressing pretty good. If anyone's going to be back the quickest of any of the guys that are out there, there's a good chance it's him. Now, Darius, we know this was the least worst injury, I should say. Now, I know it's seriously bad injury, but looking at this is a Blues team that is getting kind of killed when it comes to these injuries. We see multiple guys. Bjugstad's out right now, not placed on IR, but Kyrou, Snuggerud, Toropchenko, Walker, there's so many guys. What is your thoughts on this condensed schedule just kind of leading into this? We're seeing so many teams around the NHL, but it really feels like the Blues are getting hit by a huge wave of injuries at the exact same time.
Yeah, they probably have it worse than any other team around the league, and they've dealt with it all season at this point. Like Thomas was out for a period of time, right? Kyrou, we just learned he's out week to week. Toropchenko, of course, a burn is pretty serious, but it was a freak incident. It wasn't really, taking place on the ice. But at the same time, we were told, he might be out 2 weeks. That was already a week ago, maybe even a little bit more than a week ago. So yeah, it does sound like, and I think, we were all under the assumption that he would be the first one back once guys started coming back, because Kyrou's out probably another week at this point. Look at Walker, he's out for 2 months. Snuggerud's out for probably 2 months, right? In terms of when they're, the start date of their injury and when they were placed on the IR, of course. But yeah, I think he's the first one to be returning, and they'll need him, right? They need that depth, but I do think it's a really good opportunity for some younger players to come up and see what they can do. But when you're playing within a structure and you want familiarity in that structure that Jim Montgomery is putting forth so far this season, you want some of the guys that have been there back in the lineup, because it's really hard to get going and establish something in any type of structure when you have guys in and out the door coming up from Springfield, and a guy like Fabbri coming back in the door, right, where he wasn't even playing with the organization. So it's a little bit tough in that way, and you need your goaltending to be good too. So they're in tough. They're dealing with a lot of injuries, and it's not an ideal situation, but we'll see what happens. But to me, yeah, Toropchenko is probably the first one to come back. I mean, maybe Bjugstad too at this point, right? But they're probably on the same timeline. They'll probably be back around the same time, and then factor into the fourth line together.
And I think the big thing is, listen, getting all these players back into the lineup is going to be big. And listen, we were looking at this series, the opening night roster going into the season. You can pause and look at this and compare it to what we're seeing right now. There's a lot of new, fresh, and new faces into this lineup. It's going to get interesting how the season progresses. But fans, what is your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on Fabbri getting back into this lineup? How many points do you think he puts up? Does he jump up in this lineup? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comments today. We're having a double whammy. The big thing is, good, I'm glad they brought Fabbri back. He belongs here. We'd like to see Robby Fabbri. He's a good player for him. He was first here. This is a guy that was a fan favorite, so it's going to be awesome to see the return, the reunion, whatever you want to call it. Leave your thoughts down below. How many points does he put up tonight? Let us know down in the comments. You could be featured on Comments of the Day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues fans.